you have stream up?
Yeah, it's in my ear right now.
Is there anything?
I did not. Wait, I think my phone on my car.
Check, 1 2 1 2. Just turning it down doesn't work. No sound yet?
I hear sound.
Acceptable sound?
Yeah.
Hello, I'm here to present the people who are getting the award.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. Hello, I am also here to present people getting awards.
yeah, sounds good. Even sounds good when you're behind.
Nice. So I will bring this down.
Call to order. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Managers of the Marlin Independent School District being held March 22nd, 2021, beginning at 5 p.m. in the Marlin Middle School Library, 678 Success Drive. A live stream and recording of the meeting will be available for viewing on the district YouTube channel. The subject to be discussed or to considered upon which any formal action may be taken or listed below. Items do not have to be taken in the same order as shown on this meeting notice. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. Roll. Board Manager Vickers.
Here.
Board Manager Terry.
Present.
And I'm Board Manager Johnson. All three members are present. We do have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Any public comment? They're going to recognition. A is the Teacher of the Year, March 2021 Employee of the Month, March 2021 Lone Star Governance Teacher of the Month, and March 2021 Lone Star Governance Student of the Month.
Good evening, Board President Johnson, board members, Dr. Henson. Today, we would like to introduce you all to the Teachers of the Year by campus. Good educators step out and do great things for children. We want to recognize those who, amongst their peers, were nominated to be Teachers of the Year on that campus because of their extraordinary work, their dedication to the Marlin ISD students, family, and community, and their dedication to the craft. So first, we would like to introduce you to the Elementary Teacher of the Year, Mr. Darius Kelly. Mr. Kelly, originally from Waco, Texas. This is his 5th year in Marlin Independent School District, where he's only worked as an educator. He teaches 3rd grade reading. He's a graduate of Prairie View A&M, where he majored in political science. He's starting grad school this summer to pursue his master's degree in education, where he hopefully wants to remain in Marlin Independent School District. Our Elementary Teacher of the Year, Mr. Darius Kelly.
All right, Mr. Kelly.
Another extraordinary educator that we have from the middle school campus, Mr. Alfonso Weems. Originally from Detroit, Michigan, he's been with Marlin Independent School District for 14 years. He started off as subbing and doing in-school suspension and discipline. Then he was encouraged by the Marlin High School principal at the time to go back to school and pursue his bachelor's degree. He's an Army veteran. He has 3 daughters and 4 grandsons. So again, Mr. Alfonso Weems. And last but not, of course not least, Miss Coretta Manigault, High School Teacher of the Year. Exceptional.
Yes, we had a little miscommunication.
Okay.
But, we presented her award. She found out this morning. We presented in front of the students and teachers this morning. Students, residents, and her plaque. Is she coming?
Okay. We definitely want to honor her with 30 years of experience. She was nominated by the campus staff as an outstanding educator, so she is the Marlin High School Teacher of the Year. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Next, we will have our Employee of the Month. Many people may not know her if you don't come into the old admin building first thing in the morning, where she's already at work. She's already always greeting you with a smile. She's always so pleasant and very nice and goes over and beyond every time I see her. Our Employee of the Month, Miss Ana Sanchez.
Congratulations.
She's been married for 24 years with 2 sons. She lives in Marlin, Texas for 27 years. She's worked at Marlin for 15 years, and she also goes to church in Waco. Again, we want to honor Miss Ana Sanchez. Need one more picture.
Congratulations. Yes, ma'am.
Our Lone Star Governance Teacher of the Month, of course, is Middle School Excellence, Dr. Cornett. He moved to Houston, Texas when he attended San Josito College and Houston Community College, and finally Texas Chiropractic College to receive his Doctor of Chiropractic degree and Bachelor's in Science degree. He's had a private practice in Cypress, Texas for 27 years, selling his practice and then retiring. He has 2 daughters that attended graduate school in Baylor, who also lives in Houston and the other in Waco. He's married to Cherie Cornett. They both reside in Waco. After his retirement, he wanted something else to contribute to young people's life and began substitute teaching. After a year of substitute teaching, he was hired at Connolly Junior High, subsequently in Waco Independent School District before moving to Marlin Junior High, where this is his 3rd year. He teaches 8th grade and enjoys the challenges and relationships with his students. Again, Dr. Cornett. Thank you. And our Lone Star student for the month is Mr. Oh, okay. I see you said it.
Teacher of the year.
Teacher of the year. I just read.
Congratulations.
And our Lone Star student of the month, Mr. Aiden, was not able to be with us, so we're going to recognize him at another board meeting promptly at that time. So he was absent today from school, so we're going to recognize him at a different board meeting to make sure we do it right.
We as a board also like to thank all you guys for the work you done and keep up the good work. All right, next we're going into closed session. Time is 5:09. According to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, deliberation of personnel matters. Time is 6:01. Next thing on the agenda, the superintendent report.
Board President Johnson, members of the board, we will now have Dr. Stacy Parker with the Lone Star Governance Goal Progress Measure 3.1.
Good evening, Board President Johnson, members of the board, Dr. Henson. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about Lone Star Governance Goals Progress Measure 3.1. Can tell the path to do this. All right, so this goal is that says that the percentage of our 3rd through 8th grade students failing mathematics per quarter will decrease from 8% to 4% by the end of each year, or decrease by 1% each quarter as measured by the report card grades. So in elementary, in the third 6 weeks, the following number of elementary students failed math as indicated on the report card data. So in the 3rd grade, no students failed math on the report card out of the 70. For 4th grade, we did have 1 student that failed out of 66 students, and in 5th grade, 2 students out of 64. So for 3rd grade, we have a 0% fail rate, which is great. 4th grade, 1.5%, and 5th grade, 3%. So far in elementary, we are below that threshold, so we are meeting our goal there. For middle school, for 6th grade, 0 out of 57 failed. For 7th grade, we did have 6 students fail out of 66. And then in 8th grade, we had 9 students fail math, as indicated on the third 6 weeks report card, in math out of 64. So again, for 6th grade, 0% failure rate, which is great. 7th grade, we're at 9%, and 8th grade, 14%. So I do want to note that our 7th and 8th grade has risen above our 4% target, and that is grade levels that we will be looking at monitoring during our grade report review. As a district as a whole, we currently have 387 students in grades 3 through 8, and then of those grade levels, 18 students combined failed math per the report card data. That brings our total district percentage for the mathematics failure to 4.7%. So we are just slightly above the current 4% goal in the 2nd quarter. But we're trying to ensure that we stay below that threshold, although they'll also state that we decrease by 1 percentage point per quarter if we're above that. So we're definitely looking for that to decrease. Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Adam Lejeune, the district copier lease.
Board President Johnson, members of the board, Dr. Henson. We are at this point nearing the end of our leasing period for our largest copier lease which is with Ricoh. And we are in the process, or we have already released an RFP for a copier lease to cover us for the next 5 years, which is the typical term that copier leasers like to use. We're requesting 2 machines for each campus, 1 black and white machine and 1 color. Our minimum specs that we are asking for exceed the current minimum specs. One thing that we found was we allocated for a specific number of copies per month, and we were exceeding that number of copies per month, even with COVID. It's not necessarily a problem in terms of how much we're paying, because the cost per copy is the same regardless. It's more a matter of downtime due to the broken machines and different things like that. So what we are trying to do is offset a set amount of cost per month with only using what we are actually making copies for. So previously, the previous lease was negotiated so that if we are allocated a certain number of copies and we did not use those number of copies, then we didn't have any savings. But if we went over, we would pay an overage fee. What I would like to do this time, and what we're asking for the terms on, is that we only get paid for the number of copies that we actually, or we only pay for the number of copies that we actually make per month. And then with that, also make attempts to reduce the actual numbers of copies that get used in a month also. We are looking for upgrades for all these machines, new technologies, including mobile printing. Teachers can use their door key card to walk up to a printer and print from the machine. These are all standard features that you find in this class business machine these days. And we are looking forward to seeing those proposals. Are there any questions?
How many machines are you replacing?
There are 3 at the high school, 2 at the middle school, 3 or 4 at the elementary. There's some smaller machines. We are trying to standardize them, however, across the entire district. We held off replacing high schools for a year in order to get everybody on the same lease with the same machine types.
And does six of these machines equate to 9 of the other machines that we have right now in terms of cost?
In terms of cost, we're asking for those proposals.
Right, but I mean, would you?
We're
do you have any idea?
hoping that having we are getting fewer machines, slightly more speed and capability per machine. It should balance out. And then another cost savings in terms of the only paying for copies that we make. And then really trying to convince, we have all these Chromebooks. We should not be making millions of copies a year. We should only be making enough to do the critical tasks for parents to make.
Okay. But you don't anticipate it's going to cost much more than what we've been paying for the 9 or 10 that we use?
I do not have a real clear idea of what it would cost at this time. We're asking for those proposals. Whenever they're due in April. And then right now we have it set to review them and present the winner on the April 19th board meeting. If we would like to take a moment to look at those on the April 19th board meeting and then postpone that, we do have, I'm doing this early so that we have time to discuss it if necessary. And they're not due to change until June. So we can definitely bring all those proposals in if you wanted to look at them individually. Are there other questions? So we discussed this last week. Mr. Vickers, I know that you were not here, but we are nearing the time when it's our last batch of teacher devices that we bought a couple years ago. We spent the absolute minimum cost that we could. We bought 87 laptops. They were about $317 each. And they, while not failing and they're not necessarily not working, they are starting to show signs of wear and tear earlier than we would like. We had issues with batteries and things like that. It's not costing us money to replace them right now because they're under warranty, but downtime again is a significant problem. And then we have a lack of our webcams that we ordered on them. We weren't anticipating COVID, so we are in need of new teacher laptops. Student devices, our first batch of 200 Chromebooks, this is before the COVID batch that we bought, were approved in 2017, August of 2017. And that was using IMAT funds. Those had a 3-year warranty, which expired last year. We've since been adding Chromebooks in order to get to one-to-one. Most recently, 411 new devices. In order to keep one-to-one and that program acting positively, which we believe that it has, then we will need to acquire approximately 250 new Chromebooks every year in order to maintain our fleet. So what I've given to you.
Is that because that many go out of service every year?
No, sir. There's once the warranty period is over, so we have kept one batch for 1 year longer than the warranty period.
Okay.
The wear and tear on the machines just starts to grow at that point. And then Google themselves, actually, there's a 5-year software guarantee. After that 5 years, then there is not really any value left in them whatsoever. Okay. So what we are asking for is a 3-year lease. And I didn't really explain this last time, but to Mr. Vickers' question, a 3-year lease gives the leasers an opportunity to recover some of that cost for the remaining 2 years that are left on the device license. So we get a better price by doing a 3-year lease than we do a 5-year lease or a 4-year lease. So the proposals are for, it's actually 65 teacher devices. We had to change the quantity in order to have a reserve stock at the price that's indicated there. Student devices, about $311 each. The total is listed on in your packet, and then divided over the 3 years is a different price. It's not reflected here. Are there any questions about that?
Mr. Bustamante with the DEC local neutral absence control policy.
Good afternoon, Board President Johnson, members of the board, Dr. Henson. As we discussed at our last board workshop, the proposed revisions for policy DEC local neutral absence control. So with the proposed revisions, we're setting a limit on the amount of paid and unpaid leave that each employee can take throughout the school year. When the situation arises, if an employee does not return to work after exhausting all available paid and unpaid leave, the district shall provide the employee written notice that he or she no longer has leave. So once they exhaust all their leave, we're notified them that they have no more available leave to use. If we have to enact the absence control policy, we will make sure that we take into consideration the reasonable accommodations as required by the Americans with Disabilities Act. So we set the limit, we make sure that we accommodate them if we can, and once they do miss a day after that, then we will have to enact the neutral absence control policy. Why do we need this policy? Well, number one, prompt and regular attendance is an essential function of every district position. We need all of our employees here on a daily basis. Our teachers, our custodians, our cafeteria staff, our executive cabinet, Dr. Henson, everybody. We need everybody here on a daily basis. Number two, it sets a limit on the overall amount of absences that each employee can take before being subject to being replaced due to unavailability for work. And then three, employees who miss excessive time from work results in their work not getting done, the work of the department not getting done, and even delays district operations. Is there any questions?
How many days does a teacher get out? It's still 10?
They get
Five
five local and five
Five
state
state.
days. Yes, sir.
Is the state or the local is it cumulative? Which one?
The state days do carry over, the local days don't. Thank you.
Board President Johnson, members of the board, tonight we are seeking your vote and approval of the 21-22 school calendar. We went through a process where we had a committee of district teacher leaders and administrators who presented at the last board meeting on the actual process of how to develop the calendar. Keeping in mind that initially there were two options, but we combined them to what we call option C. Our one option that has the first day of school being August 10th. The first day of staff, however, will be August 4th. There will be, like we did last week for intercession week, one in October and one in March, where the students will come for half days of instruction to kind of give them that break or to catch them up. In the afternoon, the faculty and staff will have professional development. Notice here, our last day of school is still May the 26th. So our goal was to get out in May. And then there will be parent-teacher conference days on the third week of school for the second, third, fourth, and fifth 6 weeks. The traditional holidays of Labor Day down to spring break, President's Day, the winter holiday, and of course our professional development days. As we see, just like this year, typically one per month is what our goal is to begin the 6 weeks for training and preparation for the upcoming grading period. Any questions on that school calendar? Moving on to the District Alternative Education Program Shared Services Agreement. As mentioned in the prior board meeting, the Falls Education Co-op, along with Mart, Riesel, and Hallsburg ISDs, come together to have a cooperative for special education in our disciplinary education alternative program. Currently, that is a cost of $9,000 per student for the Joint Discipline Education Program and Learning Center, which is for our overage students to catch them up. Modern ISD currently only occupies 7 seats to a cost of the district of $63,000. And of course, we share the joint DAP with Chilton, Visalia, Riesel, Hallsburg, Mart, and Rosebud Lots. And working with Lost Echo, my proposal to you all tonight is to go into a joint services agreement with our member districts to cut the cost in half and house the joint DAP here in Marlin ISD in the vocational building. That first room, whenever you're coming in from the high school gym to the right, is a dual room with a separate entrance that is separated from the main high school building. All we're going to be doing is providing the physical location, because in Marlin, we were still going to pull out anyway for the DAP and have a teacher and have Ms. Thomas still serve as the director supporting the joint DAEP program. We'll provide the location, breakfast and lunch, supervision, and just the overall operation. The member districts provide everything else: transportation, assignments, activities, technology. We just provide the physical location. The cost of $63,000, we felt that money could be better utilized and serve the district in a different way. And the proposed cost would be to the member districts at $4,500, but of course, there might be some conversations with them, but we are all represented by Los Gallegos, so it's more so a conversation between myself and our Falls County and Eastern Clinton County superintendents. Are there any questions? Mr. Gallo, with the financial report.
Good evening again, Board President Johnson, board members, Dr. Henson. I bring to you the February 2021 financial report. The report, again, is showing the month of February that we had a total amount of revenue in state, local, and federal of $806,000. And we had a total number of expenses of $903,581. So I do want to bring your attention to, and under the actual year to date, we are to the good in our fund balance of the $1.358 million. That we have seen so far. A lot of that has come from cutting costs to making sure that we are monitoring things like copies, making sure that we are monitoring things like utilities and other bills that we may have that we know we can squeeze and tighten the belt a little bit to make sure that we do it using taxpayer dollars to the best benefit. What I would like to draw your attention to today, to take you a little further than I have before, is to bring to your attention each month 3 individual functions that I'm going to talk about exactly how we come up with those expenses and how we are utilizing those funds in 4 different categories. Under each function, we have what are called objects, and in those objects are personnel, which is payroll. We also have contracted services, we have supplies and materials, and we also have other miscellaneous costs and expenses. So for function 11, which is typically instruction, which is our students, which also can be our teachers, this is how we get the expenses that have happened for the month of February, totaling $469,000, meaning in payroll costs. If you think about that in layman's terms, that's the teachers' costs that we have that are coded to this function. Also, we may have had some contracted services. Contracted services do include professionals that may come out and provide professional development and support for our teachers and staff, or that may provide support for our students as well. Supplies and materials, as you can see, we had no expenses for the month of February. And then finally, in miscellaneous operating expenses, which could be professional services that we have went out and sent teachers to, other fees and dues that we may have for individuals to keep their professional certification or their licensure. So this would be under function 11. If you want, most people think of function 11 as students. This directly impacts our students. The second function that I want to bring to you is function 12. It is publicly known as instructional resources and media. Internally, we know this as library services. This is what we use to make sure that we support our students from certain aspects of technology, certain aspects of books that we have that are online, what the kids have access to and reading materials. For the month of February, to break down the cost that you see on the very first page, payroll costs, we had a total of $3,336. And we had no other expenses in any of the other objects for the month of February. Function 13, we didn't have any expenses. So that's why that is not shown for the month of February. But next month, what I will do is I'll take you through a journey of the next 3 functions so you can take a deeper dive or if you have any questions further about our expenses for each month. Going forward to food service for the month of February, as you can see, we have drawn down, or we're continuously drawing down more frequently our food service to get reimbursed through the USDA. A total of $49,000 came into the district for the month of February, but the total number of expenses was $52,762 that we had, and we are still we're a little overbalanced on that, but we will make it up as we go through the end of the year. And as part of our summer feeding, all of those are funds and costs that we do recruit through the federal program. Our investment report, the top portion gives an idea, it gives a statement of our investment change from last month, the $77,405 to the $77,408. As we can see, this has minimally grown, and later on this year, as we start to explore and reach out and we extend our relationship with Bancorp, we do want to look at other options to make sure that we are utilizing our money and getting the best return when it comes to interest rates. The bottom portion is just a change in debits and credits and interest earned that we have on our general checking account that we have, is also known as local maintenance. This is also reflected in that first document that you all have that shows our additions and our subtractions for the month and the year-to-date changes. And again, we also have the check registry. This is just a snippet, but in your board book that you have in front of you today, you have the full report for you to peruse and look through. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask about the check registry. Are there any questions about anything or any of the new material that I went over for the month of February a little more in depth?
Lawrence, is there a fund balance calculation in here anywhere?
Yes, sir. So on the
Is it going to be the $6,075,000?
When you ask about fund balance, are you the cash that's in the bank or the actual changes that we've had from expenses?
You know, at some point, there's a report that we have to submit that to the state that defines our fund balance.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's the number I'm looking for.
So the number that you're looking for, I'm getting turned around.
Yeah, I saw the change, the 1.3 million.
The 1.3 million. So right now, if I'm getting turned around with the clicker, my apologies. There we go. So the balance that we have in our account is the $6 million. Part of the audit that you're looking for is the unassigned fund balance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we submit to the state at the end of the fiscal year from the audit. I will give you that exact number that we did at the end of the last school year that we got in January to get you that information.
Okay. So is that, you have a ballpark guess?
The ballpark guess, I do know we did put about $500,000 back into the fund balance in addition to the previous school year.
Okay.
But I want to make sure that I give you a sound number that's intelligently speaking. So I'll make sure I give that information to you.
So you think we're no problems as far as
Oh, no, sir.
being where we need to be?
One of the things that Region 12, our auditors have assured me is Marlin has money. Is the one statement that they continuously say, even speaking with Amir, our auditor, we talked throughout the year about some of the changes, speaking with our direct Region 12 person as well as TEA, is Marlin has money. The issue has been, historically, Marlin doesn't spend the money. Okay. So our unassigned fund balance actually is a little high when it comes to the amount that is suggested that you have, about 3 months of operating budget. And we definitely are at like 4.5, if not higher, of money that we have that we're over what we actually need. And it's actually recommended that we spend more money to make sure that we are increasing students' academic outcomes.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
This concludes the superintendent's report.
Back to you.
What was this? What was this?
What is it?
This was sitting on our place when it came out.
Adam?
Is that just one of them?
So that's the Matrix Financial lease agreement. It's not the final agreement, but it is the exemplar that we'll go forward with.
Okay.
If it's approved.
So we're just waiting to next month to see the rest of them? Or is there another one?
That actually didn't make it into the packet.
Okay,
So that's the.
This
document
didn't make it
for-
into the packet.
For approval on consent agenda, yes.
so no action on it
Ready
tonight,
for the consent agenda.
right?
We voted on
Now,
this tonight?
ready for the
I-
whole
I-
consent agenda.
It was submitted to go into the packet, it just did not quite make it into the packet, but it is on the agenda for consent.
All right.
And this is 10A, correct, Adam?
Correct.
I got you.
So,
Okay.
Mr. President, are we ready to do the consent agenda? Approve this consent agenda?
Yes.
I'm trying to make up for last time messing up. I move that we approve item 10, the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, it's been approved. The motion has been made that we, do the consent agenda, a motion has been made on the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion on anything on the consent agenda? If not, we're ready to vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion passed 3-0. Is there anything else? If there's nothing else, we stand adjourned.